So we've been doing this for 3 years, Swanky Southern Nights, and we have a wish list of guests for our show, and very thankfully we've been able to check off a lot of those. But I'm going to say, for the whole time we've been doing the show, Suzy Bogguss has been
Yes.
right up there at the top of
Hi.
that list, and so we're just thrilled to have you on the
I am
show.
too. Thank
We
you.
are. And by the way, I'm Brynn and this is Mackie. I don't think we've officially met,
Makky
right?
and Brynn, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So glad.
I met Mackie before,
Yes.
in
Yes,
his office.
yes, and I was going to share this with. Well, that's what I was going to share with you. So my memory of you has a lot of meaning. The last time that I saw you, probably more meaning than you know, but you'll
Okay.
understand in a second.
All right.
So I had an office here in Columbia, downtown, in Rory Feek's built space. We shared space down there, and there was a filming of Larry's Country Diner, and
Right.
you were on that day. My longtime manager, mentor, publisher was Terry Choate, and
Wonderful human being.
yes, yes, and he just loved the daylights out of you, as you know, and
Likewise.
yes, and so Terry, one of my last times to visit with Terry, he's moved on, but one of my last times to visit with him was in my office, and you were in there, and you were visiting and singing, and it was just a joyous time. And so my last memory of actually being in a room with you is very meaningful. It means so much to me. So I just wanted
Well,
to let you know.
that's very nice to hear. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually, I just remember they kind of saved my life because I didn't have my clothes changed yet, and I needed some place to hang out and warm my voice
Yes.
up because it was a morning shoot, which
Yes.
my voice needs a little warming up in the morning.
Yeah, I
It's
understand.
it starts out at Louis Armstrong and starts moving up from there.
Nice. Yeah, Susie does Louis Armstrong music. I
We,
like
we
that.
play
That's a
Louis
good idea.
Armstrong a
We
lot
play
too.
him a lot. Yeah, we do.
I love
Hey,
it.
well, we play a lot of Susie music, and I'll tell you what, we've been big fans of yours for a long time, and your career, of course, dating back to the '90s hits, which so many people know. And I could list them off. There's so many of them, but you have, and what you had a great word for this. Susie has. You've evolved so deeply and richly
Yes.
through the years, and it's been beautiful to watch because you've
You
got
guys are
those. Well, you've got those elements of you do have jazz elements that are very
Yeah.
that's very obvious,
Yeah.
as well as folk and all the wonderful projects that you've done, through the years. It's just
I
been
have to
wonderful.
give credit to, all of the wonderful, uh, mentors and collaborators that I've met through the years because
Mm.
that's kind of how I did it. I wasn't a schooled music school person, but
Yeah.
I had music in school. I was in the choir in school and in church and stuff. So, I mean, I did learn music, but so much of what I know came from friends of mine and people that I was hanging out with and jam
Hmm.
sessions and that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm alone in that, especially in the country field. I mean, so
Right.
many of us kind of learned on the fly as we were, uh, you know, expressing ourselves. We would
Yeah.
get to
Yeah.
also work around people that maybe had a different background or different influences, and that's
Yes.
been a real great thing.
Yeah. Let's. We love backstories. So little Susie Bogguss, as a little girl,
Yeah.
what kind of music influenced you growing up?
Well, it was a very eclectic family because my mom was a big band era. She loved like the real classic pop, like Doris Day and Dean
Yes.
Martin, and we had
Yes.
Ella Fitzgerald and some big band
Yeah.
records. But not a lot. We didn't have a ton of albums. And then my dad was the country fan,
Hmm.
so the 8 tracks in my dad's car
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
all Merle and Buck Owens and
Yeah.
Patsy Cline and that sort of thing. So and Ray Price. I mean, and that it kind of it sneaks some of that
Yes.
big band kind of
Yes.
thing together. You think like Hank Thompson and even
Yes.
Bob Wills, like
Yes.
even though it was a different kind of swing with a fiddle instead of horns or whatever,
Yes. Yes.
it still smacked of that. And then
Yeah.
Yeah.
siblings are quite a bit older than me, so 8 years younger than my closest brother. So my oldest brother was into the Four Seasons and any group that had like 4-part harmonies.
Yeah.
So he would have loved the Oak Ridge Boys and that kind of thing. Then my sister was the James Taylor Carole King thing. That's where she left her guitar behind when she got married, so I got to start out on that guitar. And then my closest brother was like Creedence Clearwater and like really funky, weird stuff like Alice's Restaurant.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I had a really broad
Yeah.
group of influences, and the fact that my sister left me that guitar, and at the time I was 14, and so picking up that guitar at that point, she taught me a few chords of the James Taylor-y stuff, and then John Denver was a big
Yeah.
hit at that time. So this is like mid 70s or
Yeah.
early 70s, I guess, and his stuff, had the simpler chords, and
Yes.
so it's the kind of thing that you could actually practice and learn. And
Yes.
from there, I went to Emmylou Harris, who was also doing some traditional and also mingling the country rock sound together with traditional, and so all of it just sort of, I don't know. I'm a very mixed up girl.
No, it's
Yeah.
awesome, but it comes out in your music, and that's awesome.
Yeah, because I was thinking about this earlier. Suzy, you've done a lot of different kinds of music that are obviously a part of what you're made of, but you have kept your specific styling through all of that, and that what a perfect picture of an artist to do that, because a lot of people fall into certain things and they're like, oh, I want to be like that, I'm going to be more like that, but you've maintained the integrity of your artistry through those different styles of music, which is beautiful.
I appreciate that. I tried to, like you said, I tried to learn and try to incorporate that into my music as I go by. But, like I said, the collaborations that I've been fortunate enough to do with different friends and even just acquaintances, I really have to say those ignited so much curiosity into me that I just wanted to learn more about that style, or I would learn more about that person's music, and I don't know, I think it's just such an awesome thing that music is such a fellowship. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes. Well, you've done through the years. I know you had a excuse me, a swing project with Ray Benson. And
Which we've worn out on our show.
well,
We love it.
every artist, by the way, that you mentioned has influenced you. We play them all the time. We were just sitting there going, yeah, we play that, we play that, because that's it. You're it. Just the embodiment of all that, which is awesome. And then we're also going to be playing this week is in Nashville, part of the Chet Atkins Appreciation Week, and we've worn out the Simpatico album and just the music
so
you've done. Oh, so good.
I'm gonna perform on
Are you?
Saturday. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'll be there with my trio, and we're playing between Doyle Dykes and Tommy Emmanuel. So
Nice.
I don't know. I think I'm going to pretend like I sprained my wrist.
No. Just well, when you're performing at something like the Chet Atkins Appreciation Week, are you going to be doing anything from the Simpatico project, or is it something different?
Yeah, I'll do that. And then I sang on a couple of Chet's albums, but
Yes.
one song in particular I did, After You've Gone.
Yes.
And that was just a really lot of fun. I got to do a TV special with him down in Austin. That was just like the most amazing guitar players all in one room at the same time, and just and Johnny Gimbel too. So that was pretty special time for me.
In Austin.
Yeah,
There you
we'll
go.
pull some of that in there too.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. Good. Well, now we've talked about all these different elements and the people that you've gleaned, your music from working in collaboration. But this latest album of yours, that you wrote everything on that album, didn't you?
This is the first time that I've been a writer, co-writer on every song on an album, and
Praying for Sunshine, great album.
thank you
Yes,
much. It's a little bit on the bluesier side,
love
and
it.
it's really weird how that came about. But right before we all locked down for that little piece of time we don't talk about anymore,
Right.
uh,
Yeah,
right before that, we were touring a lot in the South, and that was unusual for me.
yeah,
We had been performing a lot in like Memphis and Little Rock and going down into Mississippi and stuff.
yeah,
And I grew up on the Mississippi River, but up in Illinois.
yeah.
So coming down the river, I'd always had this connection with that whole thing, like, that as you went further south, I always loved to listen to Mississippi John Hurt and,
Yes,
some of the stuff the Delta blues stuff.
yes.
And even though that, wasn't really my background, I always felt kind of this weird affinity for it because of the river connection.
Yeah.
And so we had Doug and I had been kind of dabbling with a couple of songs that those shows had inspired. I mean, one of the songs is called Sunday Birmingham, and that's
Yes.
an actual song about just a 24-hour period around a one-night stand.
Yeah.
And just, some of those things,
Yeah.
I just like sometimes you just want to appreciate where you are at that moment, because you notice that the folks that came to see you, like for instance, during that show, we met some folks afterwards that had come all the way up from Orange Beach, and they had just had this horrendous flood. And they came to the show, they still came up, and it was like things were so bad right there that it was almost like a relief to go do something that was out of the picture, and not they weren't having to every single minute be living in that mess that they were
You
in.
you took them somewhere else. Yeah.
And the weirdest thing was last year when I was first out and performing for this album, they came to a show and they said, "Is that reference in that song about us?" And I said, "Yeah." I can't believe it. I was like, I had never met them before that, and I had no idea they were coming to see another show, and they came to see a show in Arkansas, and I was just like, this is so cool.
Wow.
That is
That
awesome.
is awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that song. I mean, there's all the songs on that album were great. Paint the Town Blue.
Yeah.
What a great, well, number one, what a great hook. But you're used to
Yeah.
paint the Town Red. But great, and
That was
just
that's a title from my husband. He had that title, and
brilliant, Doug. It's fabulous. It's wonderful. Yeah.
it's really handy having a collaborator that drinks coffee every morning.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
become
Sure.
you can just have a conversation, and all of a sudden you got a song. So, and that particular song, we were writing it for a specific thing, which was this little movie that they made about my hometown, and
And what is your hometown, Suzy?
my hometown is Aledo, Illinois.
Population?
Population about 3,300, something like that. And it's been staying like that. I mean, that's what it was when I was growing up. It kind of to stay that size, and it's your Mayberry. It is like it was such a great place to grow up. And I mean, you live in Columbia, which is
Yeah.
you're
Very
a
similar.
little,
Yeah.
you're a little more upscale now.
It's growing.
Yeah, it's growing.
But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but
so
so Paint the Town Blue was based on your hometown?
it was based on my hometown. We're the kind of little town where you have as many taverns as churches. It's like
Yeah.
there's a tavern, then there's a church. There's a tavern,
Yeah.
then there's a church, and it's 10 blocks this way and 10 blocks that way, and just a wonderful place to grow up. And
Yeah.
it's like just knowing almost everybody in town, and I could still probably tell you most of the phone numbers of my friends from school and
Yeah.
and everything, because graduating class of 100, and just
Wow.
it was a sweet way to grow up. But Paint the Town is kind of about how sometimes, especially in the winter, we would have to deal with the blues. And
Yeah.
that particular
Yes.
thing is like, if you're having a bad day, why just sit around by yourself? You might as well go drag it out with everybody else.
Yeah.
And who
Yes.
knows, maybe you'll get out of your funk.
Yeah. 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 Well, you've talked about collaborating. I know that you're, you do these things, Suzy's Soup Nights, those sorts of things. I know you have a lot of friends over and do this kind of thing that has resulted in not only great music with collaborators, but also you've got a book, Suzy's Soup Night, right?
Do. I got a cookbook, which again, that came during that time we were kind of locked down. We had time to do it. I'm like one of the kind of cooks that loves to see what's in the fridge and then just like throw stuff together and try to
Yeah.
make it wonderful. And
Yeah.
it's probably 60-40
Yeah.
Yeah.
that it turns out great.
Yeah.
But for me, the soups have been a way to bring people together, and it was also a way for me to get guitar players to come to my house because they love free food.
Yes.
And so they would teach me chords while they were here, and that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Started doing that in college. So,
Yeah.
and now I do this on my birthday, and it's sort of a kind of cheesy way to like I just make these huge pots of soup, like huge.
Yes.
And my best friends that are the most wonderful musicians in the whole wide world come here and just play music for me while I cook for them. And I just set it up so that I always have a great birthday.
That's
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
No
We
use,
saw Kip.
no use waiting around to see if somebody else is going to do it for you. Just
Yeah.
get yourself some soup and start you having a party on your birthday.
That's right. Yeah,
That's
we
beautiful.
saw that Kev Mo was among those, and he's been on our show recently. And you just
It's
you
fabulous.
yes, you surround yourself, and so do they with you. But you surround yourself with so many great artists and guitar players, like you said. So that's
Yeah, I mean,
awesome.
Tommy Emmanuel's here every year. I had no idea that he was so easy, that he just needs a little soup and he's there. So who knows?
Like you said, musician at heart. Hey, it's food, right?
That's
It's
right.
good.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Suzy, I just want to say thank you so much for your music because I've been listening to you nearly my whole life, and I've always loved your music. And in the 90s with your hit songs, that was my favorite stuff on the radio as a female country singer.
Yes.
But then to do this show with Makky and this jazz blend, country jazz blend that you've been doing, and to really dive into that, it's just been a true treat. And you're still my favorite. And I just
Well,
think it's amazing.
Goodness, great.
Yes.
I'm gonna be like I'm a new fan, but I'm definitely gonna be a fan because if that's the kind of stuff you like, where you're pulling those
Oh
different
yeah.
things together and moving the influences closer and closer.
Yes.
Yes.
That sounds
Well,
fantastic to me.
you mentioned Ray Price earlier, and you
Yeah.
were saying, yeah, Ray Price had a lot of that in his music, and you recognized that at
We
a
play
young
a lot of
age.
Ray. Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. Is that middle? What did I?
Yeah, you know what's
Sorry.
what's kind of funny?
What did I say?
It's kind of the middle. Well, it's kind of funny because we always say the three Rays have to be a part of our show. That's Ray Price, Ray Charles, and Ray Benson.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you
Exactly
definitely
what you.
have good taste.
Well, it's exactly what you said though, because you draw from those Western swing. You mentioned Bob Wills, and of course, Asleep at the Wheel, and
Yeah.
that's country jazz. Western swing is got all those elements in it, which is wonderful, and you do that so well.
Thank you.
You really do.
I'm so lucky. This summer, I get to go and sing at the Cindy Walker Festival down in Texas, and I am so stoked because I love so many of her songs.
Oh,
And
no kidding. Yeah.
she was just an amazing songwriter. But I get to sing "You Don't Know Me."
I was going to ask if you got to do that. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just gonna be so
Yes.
fun. And
Oh,
Katie
yeah.
Shore, who played fiddle with Ray for many years, her band is going to be backing me up, and it's going to be so fun.
That's awesome. That is
I,
awesome.
I love a chance to sing that stuff, and I do, some of it in my show too. But because I've been making music for so long now, it's really hard. I find, it's hard for me to take something out when I'm enjoying singing it. It's so some
Yeah.
songs I've just kept in there for years and years and years,
Yeah.
and then every once in a while I go, I'm sorry, you have to retire for a little while, and I'll bring
Yeah.
this and it's like
Yeah.
they're my little babies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's an embarrassment of riches, though, Susie. You've got so many great songs. You really do. It's
Well,
wonderful.
I've borrowed a lot of them.
Well, you've put your style on them, and that they've been great. Now, I've got a question for you. So, I was talking to a friend, a bass player friend of mine, actually this morning, and we were talking about he used to go see you play at a little place over by Exit Inn in Nashville all the
Right.
time when you first got to town in Nashville, and you've had such a wonderful career with such well thought out music and just with so much integrity. What would you tell our listeners who are, getting into music and wanting to make a career of their own? What has given you that longevity?
You know, I feel like this is one thing, when young people ask me about, advice for especially really young singers, I usually tell them that I think it would help them if they would learn an instrument, even if it's just the simple chords on a ukulele or anything that would help you if you think you're going to be singing with a band to because I started out solo, and played many years solo. I even played solo at Dollywood, and the thing when I was getting trying to get used to working in the studio or working with a band was that I could set the feel. And if you have just a little bit of knowledge of piano or whatever it is to sort of sing along to it with,
Yeah.
then you kind of are controlling how you want them to sort of see your vision of how you want to treat the song.
Yeah.
And I just find that that's been so valuable to me, even though many times my knowledge of the instrument is nothing compared to the people I'm playing with. There's still the respect of just that I try to sort of put across what my vision is for the
Yeah. You,
phrasing out of the song.
you can communicate with them and set
Right.
that
And then
put
also
that
just
vision.
setting that rhythm sometimes at the tiniest little bit of change. You know this, but just sometimes just the tiniest little bit of a swing
Yeah.
or keeping it really straight, or if you want it to be a rolling pick pattern or a train beat or something like that, sometimes just that little bit of change can make the song have either a really comfortable groove and a seat that you're singing in,
Yeah.
or it can be awkward, so
Yeah.
it's just, to me, that's something I always try to say to young musicians is just, if you, especially singers that haven't necessarily come up playing and singing together, just learn enough so that you can lead a band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wise
Good
words.
advice.
Yep, wise words.
Yes.
Well, you've done it so well, and for a while now, and
A
you do it, and
long
you
time.
do it so well,
Listen to you.
and we're just
I
so
started when
grateful.
I was 8. No.
Well, we're just so grateful to have you on Swanky Southern Nights, and we appreciate you and your great music, Suzy Bogguss.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
And I hope I'll get to come over and visit you someday. I'll just come.
Please do.
I'll just drop in on the square.
We would
Okay.
love that.
Hey, everybody, Suzy Bogguss here, and you are listening to Swanky Southern Nights with Makky and Brynn.